Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to my latest tech news video. I'll be covering recent tech news in this video. These news videos will generally cover gaming related tech, but also tech and hardware in general. I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. I'll now get into some tech news from the past week or so. To start off today's tech news, we have some Starfield related news. I had covered the DLSS 3 mod, which is available for Starfield in the last tech news. There are actually two DLSS mods for Starfield, one paid and one free. I haven't checked again, there may be actually more. I did mention in that video that I would hope DLSS would be officially added at some point, and now Bethesda has confirmed it will be added to the game, so you will no longer need to use the mods to enable DLSS, at least once the DLSS officially is added into the game. This was confirmed by Bethesda in an article or post on their website. I will throw up a screenshot of the main part of the update details. In the post, they said that, quote, "This first update is a small hotfix targeted at the few top issues we are seeing. After that, expect a regular interval of updates that have top community requested features, including brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, FOV slider, NVIDIA DLSS support, 32 by 9 ultra-wide monitor support, and an eat button for food. We're also working closely with NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel on driver support, and each update will include new stability and performance improvements." So that's all good news. The DLSS implementation is the biggest news from this, and I guess to a lesser degree the FOV slider option kind of makes me think Total Biscuit would not be too happy given its absence. Um, yeah, it really should have been in the game at launch, but at least it's coming and you won't need to edit config files or mod it in. They don't detail what version of DLSS, but I suspect at least DLSS 2, with DLSS 3 and FrameGen coming later, or they could surprise me and it will receive FrameGen before AMD's Fluid Motion Frames, or FSR 3, as the game just has FSR 2 in it at the moment. No sign of Intel X ESS. Hopefully they do implement that, but I suspect Intel is more concerned with just getting their GPUs working properly with the game. From what I can tell, ARC GPUs still aren't performing as well in Starfield as their NVIDIA and AMD equivalents, but Bethesda did mention that they will also be working with Intel on driver support, so hopefully things improve. I guess at least the game actually runs at least runs on the game. I think when it first released, it wouldn't start on some Intel GPUs. I did cover this in the last tech news video, but Bethesda did also mention in this post that they are currently working on built-in mod support. They call it creations, similar to what they did with Skyrim and Fallout 4. I don't believe this will be coming until next year though. Yeah, I'm glad that Bethesda are working with the big three GPU manufacturers to improve performance via driver as well, as the game is still quite the performance hog, and is quite demanding. Any improvement in performance slash FPS and stability is great. Let's hope the new driver updates keep improving the game, and yeah, gradually over time, hopefully it will run a lot better. I will cover this briefly. NVIDIA released an OTA, or over-the-air upgrade. Sorry, not not over-the-air upgrade, over-the-air update. I've not actually heard of an OTA update before, but yeah, this was for Starfield. This update to the most recent NVIDIA drivers, namely 573.34 and 537.14. Hopefully I got that right. Improves resizable bar support, so rebar support, and should be downloaded automatically for anyone using those drivers, specifically from NVIDIA. This improves the performance going by NVIDIA's numbers. The resizable bar support looks like it improves performance in Starfield by about 5% on RTX 30 and 40 series GPU. Although the update should be downloaded automatically, NVIDIA says that a restart may be required to start the download in some cases. If you want more info, definitely check the video cards article that we'll have linked in the description. I will just quote as well what NVIDIA said here. In our testing scenario, the GeForce RTX 40 series desktop GPUs see on average a 5% increase in performance. The Starfield resizable bar update will be pushed via an over-the-air OTA update from NVIDIA and will be automatically applied for gamers running the latest game-ready driver 537.34, or the previous release 537.17. So it is actually 17, not 14. I got that bit wrong. That 5% may not seem like a lot, but at least it will help some to improve the game performance somewhat. And yeah, the game is still early days, so I'd expect more drivers to be coming as the months go by, as I covered in the last bit. I've been playing the game and about 10 hours in. I did share some of my thoughts on the game in my most recent gaming news video, which should have released yesterday. If you want to hear more about my time with the game, my like early brief take on the game, check that video out. But yeah, I will say I'm liking the game so far. I'm enjoying it. It's not having too many issues with it, and it seems to run okay at the moment. A few the odd hitch here and there, but nothing too serious. Now for a couple more Nvidia bits. Firstly, it looks like Nvidia's AIBs are dropping RTX 4070 prices, with some models dropping by $50 below MSRP in the US. In the UK, prices seem to have come down a little recently, but not by an equivalent amount of GBP when I checked. These price drops are likely due to the recent release of the RX 7800 XT from AMD, which performs very similar to the RTX 4070 but is $100 cheaper on average and has 16GB of VRAM, although in ray tracing the 4070 does have an edge. I had shared my thoughts on both GPUs and compared them to their last gen performance competitors, the RTX 3080 and 6800 XT, in my last tech news video, so check that if you're interested. Going by Newegg listings, there are already two models of the RTX 4070 which have dropped to $550, specifically the Zotac Gaming and Gigabyte Windforce models, and it also looks as though prices on Amazon for the RTX 4070 have also reduced to $550 in some cases. So yeah, if you've been waiting for the RTX 4070 to drop in price, maybe now's the time to consider one. If you haven't already got a 7800 XT, I guess, or something similar performance-wise. The next bit of NVIDIA GPU news is that an RTX 3090 Super has been pictured. We'll show an image of the 3090 Super around here. Just for a bit of backstory, the Super variant naming scheme was only ever used on the Turing-based NVIDIA family of GPUs, the RTX 20 series and 16 series, with the RTX 2080 Super, the GTX GTX 1660 Super, among others. Since then, it hasn't been used, though it does look like NVIDIA was considering an Ampere refresh that would have included the Super moniker, as this RTX 3090 picture suggests. 3090 Super, that is. Although, as you probably know, it never happened, and this is likely just a concept mock-up of the shell of the potential card. I don't know if it would run or anything, or it has a different spec or anything, but it just looks like this was simply a mock-up. Instead, NVIDIA opted to use their more well-known TI branding, which is short for titanium. We'll say RTX 3080 titanium kind of sounds cool, or GTX 1080 Ti, or GTX 1080 titanium, but that's a bit long of a name, I guess. I think I prefer a short one to TI, but titanium does sound quite cool. I believe there were rumors that NVIDIA was planning super variants of its Ampere graphics chips, but this is the first I had heard of it. I could see NVIDIA doing a super refresh of the Ada Lovelace 40 series GPUs. Again, though, I think they would stick with the TI branding if they did want to refresh them. There's not much evidence that NVIDIA will release TI variants of its high-end cards, but you never know. We could see a 4080 Ti or 4090 Ti, but it doesn't seem so likely at the moment. I will say, though, that the RTX 3090 Super shroud looks very nice in these images, in all black. My favorite looking graphics cards are NVIDIA's Founders Edition cards from the RTX 30 and 40 series, and the matte plus gloss black color scheme looks really nice actually. Hopefully they use that design in the future. It does look pretty good. Now for a bit of AMD GPU news. Following the release of AMD's Radeon RX 7800 XT and RX 7700 XT, there's a spot missing in AMD's current RDNA 3 lineup, which could be filled with a card which performs between the RX 7600 and 7700 XT. This gap could be filled with the 7600 XT or 77 non-XT. It looks like the former may be the one AMD chooses, at least that's what is being speculated after a recent PowerColor EEC submission. I will include an image of the submission here, along with a comparison chart. Both were included in the video cards article. with the former being sourced from the EEC. I have covered submissions to the EEC or Eurasian Economic Forum before, which also detailed other graphics cards from AIBs. According to this new submission, PowerColor and thus AMD might be readying an RX 7600 XT, interestingly in two variants, a 10GB as well as a 12GB variant. In the filing to the EEC, there are also mentions of an RX 6750 GRE, which I believe I did cover in a previous video maybe. All of this is still speculation though, as nothing has been confirmed by AMD yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw these cards release at a later date. I will say that I will be a bit surprised if AMD chooses to release two variants of the same graphics card with memory sizes so close to one another. I would prefer if they went ahead with the 12 gig, but we don't have any confirmation yet of either. Just these EEC filing submissions. Both GPUs would probably perform slightly differently, as they would have different memory configurations, as the memory bus would be reduced on the 10 gig model, and this would likely impact performance to some degree. I can't imagine the 7600 XT coming anytime soon, and potentially it's just a submission so that the name is registered, sort of just in case, but I could be wrong. We may see it, you never know. Have to sort of wait on that front. Now for some iPhone news, not about the device in general, but more specific news related to its A17 Pro chip, which is in the recently revealed iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro Max. I may cover photos from phones from time to time, and this is quite interesting as the GPU and the chip can apparently run modern PC games. I will put up relevant images and videos throughout this bit. This new Apple chip, the A17 Pro, is going by what Apple has said, the industry's first 3nm chip. The new chip has a 6-core CPU featuring 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. The performance cores are supposedly 10% faster than their predecessors. But more interesting, at least to me, is the new GPU on board the A17 Pro. It's a 6-core GPU that's apparently 20% faster than its predecessor and will feature mesh shading and hardware accelerated ray tracing. The hardware-based ray tracing is, according to Apple, 4 times faster than its software equivalent. With this increase in performance, Apple is seemingly marketing the new iPhones as mobile gaming powerhouses. I will include footage here. It briefly showcased Resident Evil 4 Remake, Resident Evil Village, Death Stranding, as well as Assassin's Creed Mirage running on the device, and that game's not actually out yet. The A17 Pro also has a dedicated AV1 decoder, which should improve video streaming, as well as a new USB controller with support for video output up to 4K 60fps HDR. While we don't yet know how those games will run, if they do run well, that is, pretty impressive to be able to play those games on a smartphone. Although I do want to see performance metrics for these games running on the iPhone 15 models, just in case they don't run so well. I expect some tech YouTubers like Marquez or LTT will get their hands on the devices and hopefully they test their gaming capabilities. But yeah, may cover more phone stuff in the future, but probably won't go in deep on the devices, the products themselves. Maybe I'll just do what I did here and cover chips and performance and so on. I think that's more my side of things. But yeah, it's quite interesting if it all does turn out to work well on the phone. Definitely, well, I imagine, I would cover it in the future if it's interesting. Next up, some Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty information. The Phantom Liberty expansion of Cyberpunk 2077 is out on the 26th of September. The 2.0 update is out before this on the 21st of September, and it looks like the update and alongside Phantom Liberty will be very CPU intensive. A developer for the game, try and pronounce this, Philip Piaczynski, has released a tweet detailing that Phantom Liberty DLC/update will be very demanding on PC hardware, more specifically CPUs. I will add an image of the tweet. Philip even recommended stress testing your CPU so that you can see if your CPU cooling is enough to keep your CPU temps under control when under sustained load. With apparently 8 core CPUs experiencing 90% CPU load, by looks when they tested. Philippe says that, quote, before release, CP 2077 2.0 and PL, please check conditions of your cooling systems in PC. We use all what you have, so workload on CPU 90% on 8 cores is expected. To save your time, please run Cinebench or similar and check stability of your system. So yeah, that's quite interesting. We'll also put an image up of Phantom Libby's PC requirements as detailed by CD Projekt Red. That 90% load figure seems pretty high. I have a 7900X, which is a 12 core 24 thread CPU, and in Starfield I see usage from sort of the 20 to 30%. So 90% CPU usage on an 8 core seems very high. And I will add, actually, it looks like maybe with the most recent Starfield update, my CPU's been using a bit more, like I saw it using 30%. I was a bit surprised about that, but yeah, I don't know whether that was because of the recent update or not, but it just seemed a bit different. Not quite sure. Maybe yeah, maybe the update just utilizes CPUs more. I'm not really sure. As a Tom's Hardware article notes that this CPU load is due to ray tracing, BVH or bounding volume hierarchy structure, combined with the crowds and NPCs. Ray tracing does, in general, put a large strain on GPUs, but also to some degree on CPUs. One other thing that was mentioned is that the update will come with native SMT, so simultaneous multi-threading support or hyper-threading. This is pointing to the DLC/2.0 update implementing a fix for the game's CPU thread utilization issues, and this will allow the game to utilize increasing CPU threads better. We'll have to wait and see how CPUs fare when playing the Phantom Libby expansion, and I'm a little concerned, I guess, but we should have to wait and see how performance is once the game is released. I suspect we'll get a video from Gamers Nexus and others testing performance, so that'll be quite interesting. Also, he mentioned an 8-core CPU, but we don't know. He didn't say a specific model, so it could be one from a few generations back. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I think it's just over a week and a bit away. Now for some more Nintendo Switch 2 news this week. I have covered the rumored, but increasingly more likely, Switch successor in a couple tech news videos, and this week we have some more related details. The most recent news I covered was that the Switch 2 was showcased at Gamescom this year to a number of developers during a secret invite-only demonstration. Allegedly, in this secret meeting, the Switch 2 was shown running Unreal 5's Matrix Awakens demo with DLSS enabled. This would point to the Switch 2 using an NVIDIA SoC system on a chip. As was expected, they used them previously. Now, though, some details have been revealed that show the SoC will possibly be NVIDIA Ampere based. Ampere is the GPU architecture which is at the heart of NVIDIA's RTX 30 series GPUs. I will put up an image of the GitHub listing and a tweet detailing some more information. The SoCs shown in the listing are T234 and T239, which go by the WCCF article, as well as some ex-users talking about this. Could be Ampere Tegra. A Tegra SoC powers the current Switch models, although it seems the T239 will be the chip powering the Switch, if the leaks are correct, as apparently the T234 has been cancelled or is at least no longer produced. Yeah, this is quite interesting as an RTX 30 series GPU. Even a Tegra mobile one will probably provide ample power for gaming when used as the SoC for the Switch 2, especially as it will be able to run DLSS. Yeah, that's a big plus, I would say, as that wasn't available to the previous Maxwell based one. I was was expecting Ada Lovelace to power the next Switch, but I'd imagine that an Ampere based Switch would do fine. As stated in the article, DLSS 3 FrameGen may be absent from the Switch 2. FrameGen is an Ada Lovelace RTX 40 series feature, but DLSS 3.5 ray reconstruction could be utilized as that. Isn't specific to RTX 40 series GPUs. All RTX GPUs support DLSS 3.5 from what I can tell. An Ampere-based Tegra SoC would be a massive jump over the second gen Maxwell powered SoC in the first Switch. It's pretty cool, pretty interesting news, as the Switch has been out in one form or another since March of 2017, and I feel that a new Nintendo console is definitely due. Though they have produced some very impressive games with the older hardware, so I guess imagine what they could do with an Ampere powered Switch. Yeah, pretty impressive stuff that could really deliver some impressive games. And I think it would be a good if they did a Switch 2 version of the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. That would be pretty cool. Hopefully, it'd just be an upgrade for people already own the game, but you never know. Now for some quick Intel CPU news. At Intel's upcoming Innovation 2023 event, being held from the 19th to the 20th of September in San Jose, we're likely to see a revealing of Intel's 14th gen CPUs. It looks like the CPUs won't release for almost a month after this reveal, as detailed by the info I shall cover now. A source indicated to Video Cards that the CPUs won't actually be launching until the 17th of October, with an ad embargo lifting on the previous day, the 16th of October. We'll include some images of the details. It notes that review embargoes lift on the day of release. Usually embargoes lift the day before, but this info is coming from a source, so the details could have got mixed up, but I'm not sure. The specific models which are possibly going to launch on October 17th are the i5 14600K, the i7 14700K, and the i9 14900K. There are more than likely going to be many more 14th gen CPUs from Intel, but these are the ones detailed in the article. You might see higher end CPUs released before the lower end ones in this case. But yes, next week is going to be quite interesting CPU news week with the likely reveal of Intel's 14th gen CPUs, as well as some other things they might reveal at their event. As you can expect, I'll probably cover the aftermath of the event in my next tech news video. And yeah, maybe by this time next week, we would have seen the 14th gen, at least some of Intel's upcoming 14th gen CPUs. So yeah, quite exciting CPU news. I've got some Asus graphics card news now. This news is in regard to their cable-free graphics design, which implements a new GC-HPWR connector. This new proprietary connector will enable, when paired with a specific matching motherboard, the graphics card to be powered without the need for the cable coming directly from the power supply. Asus, in collaboration with Thermaltake and Silverstone, have created the BTF Back to the Future Alliance. The BTF Alliance's objective is to create a new standard for PC components and design. One project to come out of this is a cable-free graphics card from Asus. I will put relevant images up going forward. This new cable-free graphics card should have released yesterday on September the 15th, with the first graphics card to feature this new connector being Asus RTX 4070 BTF. Although it looks like the card will only be releasing in China at the moment, I would hope they would release it in outside of China at some point. But I have to sort of wait and see on that front. A motherboard to support the card is also releasing soon. This motherboard is the B760M TX BTF. There will likely be other 40 series, RTX 40 series models coming with the GC HPWR connector soon as well. Likely the 4060 and 4060 Ti, maybe the 4070 Ti. Asus also showed off its new TUF Gaming B760M BTF Wi-Fi motherboard. This is a Micro ATX motherboard which has most connectors on the back of the motherboard as opposed to the front, which is, you know, the traditional way the connectors are placed. Doesn't look like this motherboard has the compatible GC HPWR connector, and it will require a compatible case and power supply. I think that the GC HPWR design is really cool, as I don't enjoy having so many cables in my PC, so a few less is a good thing to me. They can be a bit of a pain sometimes to wire them all and things, or route them all. Hopefully the GC HPWR connector ends up being a good power connector. Maybe we'll see reviewers check it out when it comes to Western markets, but currently it is limited by its proprietary nature. But yeah, hopefully see more of them, and if it does take off and it works well, that's good. I think good, especially for people who would prefer less cabling. To finish off today's tech news, I will be covering Western Digital's new SSDs. This newly released PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD is in the M.2 2230 form factor. I'll put some images up of the SSD, and it is specifically being marketed for use by WD with the Valve Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally. It is physically a very small SSD, as you might expect, given that it is is it has to fit into the Steam Deck and ROG Ally. It measures 30 millimeters long by 22 millimeters wide. There are three capacities for this model, the SN770M. They are 500GB, 1TB, and 2TB. WD also states that they are compatible with ultra thin PCs, I guess like small laptops and things, stuff that can fit an M.2 2230 form factor drive. Speed wise, the 500 gig model has sequential read and write speeds of 5000 megabytes a second and 4000 megabytes a second, respectively. The 1TB model has sequential read and write speeds of 5150 megabytes a second and 4900 megabytes a second, respectively, while the 2TB model has the same sequential read speeds as the 1TB, but has a slightly slower sequential write speed rather of 4850 megabytes a second. So yeah, these are small and fast drives. They don't saturate a PCI 4 .0 X4 connection, but they're still pretty fast. Valve does say that its NVMe drive in the Steam Deck isn't intended for end user replacement, so this might void your warranty. I'm not quite sure. It's apparently a fairly easy drive swap though. Price wise, the 500 gigabyte model is $75 or £71 when I checked. 1TB model is $110 or £104 when I checked. And the 2TB model is $220 or £200 when I checked. And when I did check, they are for sale and available in the US and UK already, though not all models were in stock when I checked. I believe a couple other companies, maybe Corsair, does a similar form factor SSDs, but I think they're quite rare. You don't see that many of them in the, I think it's the 2230 form factor, but yeah, it's good that more coming on the market for people who want to sort of use them for smaller devices. But yeah, if you are considering one, definitely check the device you want to use with it and warranties and things before you go ahead and buy one. Yeah, maybe do a bit of research on it. But yeah, seems quite interesting. So that's the general gaming news sort of finished. I will do a YouTube spotlight bit. So Iceberg Tech, he has he's a channel I watch his PC tech stuff is quite interesting. In this video he tests the Beelink SER7 mini PC. I do like mini PC videos like this. They're generally quite fun to watch. Kind of makes me consider using one day to day, but they aren't powerful enough to serve as a desktop replacement, at least not for me anyway. Gaming performance on them is pretty interesting. You don't have the space, or all you need is a lower sort of power PC. Then yeah, they're quite impressive. Quite small, they can sort of fit anywhere really. I won't say much more. Definitely go check the video yourself. Iceberg Tech always has interesting videos like this one and has a great YouTube channel. Go check it out. And yeah, as always, I will link the video in the description. That's all the tech news coverage from me today. If you're interested, you can also check out my gaming news, which was published yesterday. And yeah, as always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoy my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.